Welcome to the Beyond Jiu Jitsu podcast. I'm your co-host, Kieren Lefebvre. This is episode number 43, and I'm joined by my temporary guest host, who's here for one episode and one episode only.
I had no celebrity that I was like, I'm going to slide this in right here. No, it's just Adam Childs, far from a celebrity. What's up, man?
Not much, man. We are talking about celebrity jiu-jitsu belts or celebrity black belts, celebrity belts in general today.
Yeah, that's what we're going to go on about.
Yeah.
I'm a celebrity today because I rocked up with coffee.
Yes.
Because you're out.
I am out of coffee beans.
You know, I don't
know what to say. I don't have any excuses.
The studio is Kieran's studio.
This is my well, this is the Beyond Jiu Jitsu studio.
Yeah.
What's mine is yours.
And this is like quite a good espresso machine here. I usually rock up with coffee, but today I was running late. And so I was like, I don't have time to stop and grab coffee. But then there was a park right out the front of the cafe. So I was like, I get coffee. And then when I walked in the door, thank God I did, because you were like, bro, bad news, I'm out of coffee.
But there was good news in that. There was good news, bad news.
There was some good news, which I'm yet to hear this good news. I don't know when in the episode you're gonna bring it up. But,
yes, there will be.
I'm looking forward to it.
There will be some good news brought up at some juncture in this episode. So stay tuned for that.
What is new since last episode, bro? How's your ear?
Yeah, so I was just showing off my shiny new ear to Adam. I think I'm getting the beginnings of cauliflower ear for the last couple of weeks, ever since we returned back to training. And even before that, during if you're a long time listener to the show, you probably know by now, we went into lockdown, well, a little while ago now. We came out of it probably by the time this airs about 2 months. So even just before lockdown, I started to get a cauliflower ear on my left ear. And then when we came back, it's reared its ugly head again, and it's gotten worse and rah. But man, it's painful. Hey, for those that haven't experienced it,
dude, cauliflower ear hurts a lot.
Yeah,
you know, we were just looking at it. You were asking about what to do. Do you drain it or whatnot? You've left it a little bit too long, so it started to solidify. But I say anytime we talk about anything medical, right, or even though it's stating the obvious, I always say I'm not a doctor. But from my understanding of how cauliflower ear works and how it happens, it's from trauma to the ear. So very typical in all grappling martial arts, but even like boxers get it. You can get cauliflower ear from getting hit in the ear, so any sort of trauma to the ear. And it's something like the skin separates from the cartilage in the ear, and then it fills with fluid between the cartilage and the skin. Something like that. And you can drain it, right? And that's why you see people drain it, and then they often tape their ear, or they literally put a peg on their ear, wanting to drain the fluid and then have the cartilage and the skin heal back together. But if you don't drain it, that fluid, whatever it is, essentially solidifies, right? And then there's no way to get rid of it short of, I guess, plastic surgery or some type of surgery to remove it. I don't even know if that's possible or how it works. But yeah, yours is already solidified a little bit, so there's really not much you can do about it. If you're going to drain cauliflower ear, it needs to pretty much be straight away.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it hurts, man. It hurts a lot.
I fucked it. Shit the bed.
I'm quite fortunate. I don't have a lot of cauliflower ear. Some people get it instantly.
Yeah.
Some people never get it. And there's really two main factors to whether you get cauliflower ear or not. One is just, you biologically, how are your ears? Do you have super flexible, rubbery ears,
Oh, yeah.
Or do you have really sort of cartilage stiff ears, so you as an individual, your ears will depend whether you get it, and then also your jiu-jitsu style. So if you have a particular style you're embracing at the moment, which is lots of over under passes, stack passes, really passing head heavy, right? It leans more towards the sort of style that would embrace cauliflower ear. But yeah, man, it hurts a lot. I don't really have a lot of it. I only have a tiny bit on both of my ears. The worst cauliflower that I have is actually, you can't see it. It's on I don't know what the part of your ear is called, but man, how do you even explain it? Like the very sort of the bit of your ear that holds in an earbud, if you will. Like, you know,
Oh, okay, yeah.
the little
Yeah.
bit of your ear, right? That's
The
like,
ear hole.
yeah, like the little bit
The
that's
flappy
in
bit,
front
right?
of,
Yeah, I know.
in
The
front of
little
the
flappy
ear
boy. Yeah, I know what you're
hole.
talking about.
That bit of your ear.
Yeah.
I actually have cauliflower on the inside of that.
How
So
the
I
fuck
actually
did that
have like
happen?
cauliflower like
Damn.
kind of in my ear.
Yeah, right.
Which sucks, but I've gotten used to it.
Mm.
But I remember when I got it quite bad on I think it was my right ear, and I drained it multiple times and stuff, and you know, just home draining it, it got a bit infected, whatever, and because I kept training.
Yeah.
And anyway, man, it was so painful. I remember the headgear, like the wrestling headgear. I shit you not, I was wearing that to go to sleep.
Damn.
Because I could not put my head on a pillow. Obviously, well, why not just lie on your left side? Yeah, I did, idiots. But, you know, you roll over in bed when you're asleep, you know. I just couldn't even put my head on a pillow. It was so sore, and then still training twice a day. So like I just said to you off air, when you get cauliflower ear, you've got three options. You either in terms of like what you do training wise, treatment wise, you know, it's either drain it or don't drain it, right? They're your options really. But in terms of how you continue to train, you either stop training until it's not painful anymore. You either just train through it, or you get headgear and train through it, right? They're your only three options when you have like that current injury of having a sore ear. But
Makes
it fucking
sense.
hurts, right?
Yeah, it's painful.
I don't know. It hurts way more than you think it would.
Yeah, it's real sensitive, like a lot of nerves, unfortunately, around there, and it's all like hard and swollen and shit.
Yeah, it's all pink.
Yeah,
can't see it right now because you got your headphones
probably
on.
For the best.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is not a fan. My girlfriend's got this weird thing. She probably doesn't want me to publish this on air, but she's like really doesn't like ears. You know how some people like,
there's some,
you know, weird body parts, like don't like armpits or don't like fucking feet.
Yeah,
you know, opposite to fetishes, right? They really just they can't deal with it. She's like that with ears. Like I can't, like if my ear touches her, she like hits me, like gross. Like she doesn't want it even touching her.
That's why she can't wait till you guys go on holidays to Sweden, because you'll have to wear earmuffs.
Yeah,
it's so cold.
And beaties and shit covering my like shitty little ears. But when I was trying to show her like the collie,
she was like,
yeah, legit. She ran out of the room, like fuck off with that, because it's all like bloody and fucking all like pink and shit and gross, and she already doesn't like ears. So this is, this is not good for me. This does not bode well for me in the future.
You've probably heard this before. I mean, if any listeners who haven't heard this like old sort of meme or joke that they say, you know, if you're a white belt that gets cauliflower ear, you know, they say like, if you're a white belt that gets cauliflower ear, you know, you have to keep training jiu-jitsu. Otherwise you're just an ugly dude who can't fight. If you get cauliflower ear as a white belt, you better keep training. Otherwise you're just an ugly dude who can't fight.
Yeah,
something like that.
Fucking hell. Yeah. So speaking of people that can't fight, Ashton Kutcher.
Good segue, bro.
So look, I mean, we've had some comments we've mentioned this before, but this topic we've decided deserves its own segment, its own episode. Now, we've received some mixed feedback, mostly positive, on YouTube comments and other various ways people get messages to us about addressing the elephant in the jiu-jitsu world room, if you will, and that is celebrity belts, the celebrity belt system. Now, I know that a lot of jiu-jitsu media people, jiu-jitsu influencers, they don't really want to talk about it. Now, some do, but most don't, or if they do talk about it, it's generally positive. Now, I think the reason for that is they don't want to rock the boat. If you're in that world of show business, or you're in that world, you know, you live in LA, or, you know, you're a big media influencer, chances are if there's a celebrity belt out there like Ashton Kutcher, you might meet him, so you don't want to talk shit about him, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to meet Ashton Kutcher. So for those that don't know, I think we need to shed a little bit of light on what we're actually talking about. So I've done a little bit of digging to just get my facts and, you know, my P's and Q's in order. So we're talking
P's and Q's.
Yeah. You know, like it's kind of like dot the I's, cross the T's.
Yeah, but where does
P's and
that come
Q's.
from? I've never heard that. Am I super uneducated,
I
or
don't
is that
know.
a Navy? Well,
No, it's definitely not a Navy.
I'm very uneducated.
No, it's not a Navy thing.
P's and
kinda,
Q's.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying if you.
Well, yeah, cross your T's and dot your I's, but I've never heard P's and Q's.
Well, there you go.
What is like? What's
I
a
don't know, man.
reference?
Stop asking questions. Just ignore. Pretend I didn't say it. Now you got
Kieran's frantically Googling
like,
at P's and
shit,
Q's.
Did I use it in the right fucking context? I do that all the time.
And
I
then
say it
Google
wrong.
comes up, like Google has searched 8 billion sites and has had 0 results.
Zero. Yeah, you're an idiot. So
Anyway, P's and Q's.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. So
I'm on board.
for those that don't know, what we're talking about here is a celebrity. We're not talking about, well, we will, but we're not talking about just celebrities that have black belts or celebrities that train jiu-jitsu. We're talking about a specific training methodology. Mythology. It is a bit mythology. It is a bit of a mythology. So it's a celebrity belt system that was invented by Rigan Machado. So Rigan is a 8th degree black belt, red and black belt. He's got a coral belt, and he earned his black belt under Gracie, Carlos Gracie. He's a former jiu-jitsu world champion, veteran of ADCC. So you probably heard the name Machado before. He invented a system that he teaches out of Beverly Hills, California, Hollywood, right? And I believe it's called the Beverly Hills, California Academy, or it's simply Beverly Hills Academy. So he started this like before 2015. The article that I'm referencing is from BJJ EE, which is East Europe, BJJ East Europe. Awesome media outlet. You know, they only publish the best,
the most quality,
and the best people in the industry. I was published in this by this media company a couple of times. Anyway, so basically, Rigan created this jiu-jitsu system, right? And I just want to read a quote from BJJ EE that they got, I believe, from Jiu-Jitsu magazine. And this is Rigan talking here. I created a new jiu-jitsu system for people who can't get hurt. It's technical training. They learn jiu-jitsu and technically train, but it's all safe. I created the type of jiu-jitsu for Beverly Hills clientele. Competition, sparring, these guys can't do that. I can't even take a 1% chance of them getting hurt. I have 18 celebrities doing this program. Some guys have to sign disclosure agreements. Others, like Ashton Kutcher, Mikey Rourke, come in regularly, while Usher comes in once in a while and Vin Diesel when he's in town. So basically, he's saying just outright, these guys don't spar. These guys don't drill. These guys don't roll. They don't compete. They don't roll. They don't go intensity. All this is saying to me is they do drills. They drill jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like I get the angle he's coming from. I've never met Rigan Machado at all.
He's Jean-Jacques Machado's brother, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Yeah. So from what I understand, he's Jean-Jacques Machado's brother, and he, in all intents and purposes, he's legit. He's a fucking jiu-jitsu master. He's legit.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about him. The only thing I know is quite a funny story that when I was in Miami, there's Hillian Gracie, right? Just before we go into the celebrity thing, this is the only anecdote I know about Rigan Machado, right?
All right.
And I was at training with Hillian Gracie. Hillian is a little lesser known, but Hillian is Carlos Gracie's youngest son. Okay. So, he's very similar to Renzo Gracie in the sense that if you've ever seen like Renzo Gracie's stuff online or seen, old documentaries of Renzo or whatever, like he's super funny, really charismatic, and Hillian's very similar to that, but he doesn't really speak. His English is quite poor. So, but he's a really lovely guy. And I was training with him after I'd left Brazil, and because like Fabio had recommended I go train with Hillian while I was in Miami, and Fabio and Hillian are friends and stuff. Like he was instantly like really warm with me and stuff. And he was telling me this story about Higan receiving his coral belt. And yeah, you said that he's under Carlos. And if you look online, that's what it says as well. But from what Hillian told me, he was like, perhaps he got his like black belt from Carlos, but Hillian led me to believe he was more kind of under Hickson, right? And so Higan had received his coral belt before Hickson. So Hillian called him and he was like, Higa, he calls him Higa. And he was like, Higa. He's like, what the fuck, bro? You got your, like, he swears heaps. He's like, Higa, what the fuck, bro? You got your coral belt. And he's like, it's fucking bullshit, man. You got your coral belt like before your instructor. What the fuck's this shit? You know? And he was like, Hillian, bro, what do you like? I don't know. What do you want me to do? Like they gave it to me. Like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, man, you give that shit back. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And he's like, yeah, but Hillian, bro, I got like all my students and I got my federation and stuff. Like, what do I do? And you know, Hillian goes, Higa, bro. You take that association and that belt, you shove it up your fucking ass, bro. Like it's bullshit. It's like fully like ripped him apart.
Shit.
And that's like but you know, it was super, super funny story the way he was telling it. And that's the only thing I know about Rigan Machado.
Well, there you
that
go.
Hillian called him and told him to shove his belt up his ass. You know? But these, I mean, you know, these like I assume it was in a friend, you know, that kind of these semi grew up together. Yeah. So you know, not as in a legitimate animosity, like go fuck yourself, or as in a two friends being like, you fucking dickhead. Like, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, going back to the celebrity thing. Yeah. So look, I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, no, bro, no. Like you can't just, it goes back to whatever episode it was. And I said, there needs to like be a governing body or whatever, man. You know, I understand that, but then, okay, like it's really not the sport that we're practicing. Like, you know, for example, if you like blue belt and up, like you have to roll, like it's part of, it's kind of like saying, oh man, I've got this like celebrity, you know, I've got this celebrity like soccer team training thing, you know, but they're always on the bench. Like I can't take the risk, like not even a 1% risk. So they actually never go out on the field and they actually never play a game of soccer or football, right? They just sit on the bench. But this guy, he's like my position one striker, or the dude who never leaves the bench. Like, you know, man, like it's ridiculous. Can't.
Well, it's like, you know, if you did a celebrity surfing program, but they never went in the water.
Yeah, right.
So we only do beach drills. We only do, you know, stand-up drills on the beach. It's like, okay, well, then we're not fucking surfing,
like,
are we?
I 100% get it for, you know, if you've got a celebrity coming in and he's doing training specifically for a movie, for a role in a film or a show or something. Yeah, cool. Like that's no different to, because I believe Higan also does a lot of fight choreography stuff. So I think he worked with like Keanu Reeves on like John Wick 2 and stuff like that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's different, you know, that's no different than working with a stunt coordinator or something like that, you know, that's cool. They don't need to roll. Like you're just doing drills and learning sequences and stuff for a film. And, you know, part of that is also going to be like crossing over with training jiu-jitsu. So that's fine. But in terms of then like awarding so-and-so, you know, okay, I can semi get on board with blue belt because for me, you could achieve a blue belt and never have rolled. I'm like semi like.
I don't know, man. In all my experience.
I can semi get on board with that. But like past that, no, you know, it's kind of like for me, could you ever get a purple belt and have never rolled? Nah. Could you ever get a black belt and never have competed? Nah. Like they're just like, you know, they're cornerstones of what's required to earn that rank. And you can't just like, then don't call it jiu-jitsu, bro. You're watering down all the hard work and efforts of all the other people who have legitimately gotten their blue, purple, brown, and black belts in jiu-jitsu. Then call it fucking Higgins grappling or something. I don't care, bro. Like, you know, it's not jiu-jitsu if you're taking away all these, you know, imagine if you did something like, this, I've made this celebrity, medicine course, because these celebrities don't have the time to go to med school. So I've got this celebrity medicine course, but Keanu Reeves has a PhD and he's a doctor. No, he fucking doesn't, bro. It's like you either do the work and like do what's required, or you don't.
That's a really good analogy.
Like I know they can't take the risks of getting hurt. Well, then like I'm sorry, bro. Like
can't be a fucking purple belt.
Then you just can't. Yeah. Like you said, like I can't take the risk of, of like drowning, so I'm not going to go in the water and surf. Then sorry, bro. You're
not a surfer.
Yeah. Like that's just, or, giving someone in rock climbing or saying that, I can't take the risk of getting hurt. So this celebrity is going to qualify and earn the rank of a free climber, but they only ever climb with ropes because they can't take the risk of falling to their death. Well, then you can't earn the rank of a free climber, bro. Like, if you're not rolling or competing, for me, you can't earn these ranks.
So Joe Rogan weighed in on this. Now, granted,
everyone knows I like Joe Rogan.
He weighed in before footage of Ashton Kutcher was released.
You mentioned.
I've mentioned before, and I'm going to talk about it.
You watched him rolling with Craig, and you're like, it's not even a white belt.
Dude, he's fucking terrible. But this just for a caveat, right? This was released before anyone saw Ashton, right? But this is what Joe Rogan says, and he actually agrees with us without agreeing with us.
I don't like that.
Hey, all right. So we're gonna play a clip here. This is from the Joe Rogan Experience. Hopefully, we don't get copyrighted, but it's
he's listening.
It's in fair use. Fair use. Let's play this
Someone
clip.
was saying Ashton Kutcher is doing, I know this sounds like a setup to a joke, but it's not.
Jiu-jitsu.
He's doing jiu-jitsu, and that he's done it in the past, and he's playing a role in some movie where whoever is training him says he's fucking phenomenal and he's really committed and he's going to blow you away with his transformation.
Well, he's a purple belt.
Yeah.
He's a purple belt under Rigan Machado, who is in jiu-jitsu, we use the term master. Don't get crazy. My master, Jean-Jacques Machado. That's the top of the heap. I have a black belt under Jean-Jacques Machado, and Jean-Jacques Machado gave Eddie Bravo his black belt, and I have a black belt under Eddie too. So the ultimate top guy of the food chain in our lineage is Jean-Jacques Machado. His brother Rigan is also a bad motherfucker, and Rigan Machado gave Ashton Kutcher a purple belt. If Rigan Machado gives you a purple belt, you're a fucking purple belt.
Right.
Like he's not
handing those out because of your IMDb score.
It doesn't mean shit. You got to roll, and you got to roll with people. You can't. They don't just give you that. You have to spar. That's the only. I mean, there's martial arts where you don't spar on your way to getting belts.
Right.
Like
you have
certain
to
types
show
of
technique
karate
and stuff, right?
For like little kids and stuff. Right. But in jiu-jitsu, you have to spar. You just have to. There's no other way around it. And you kind of go full blast.
And would they just evaluate your technique in situations and go, okay, yeah, you did the right thing there, so clearly you have a level of knowledge that is this color.
A guy like Rigan, he can watch you roll in 5 minutes. He could probably figure out what you are. You might be a super athletic purple belt, but you make some mistakes. And you might be a brown belt who's been around for a long time but doesn't have the athleticism to try to tap black belts, but you have a lot of knowledge. He could tell like right away, like someone does like certain, like set someone up, they try to do something, then the counter, they hit him with the counter, and then they tap a guy. You're like, oh, that's some slick shit. And then you got to see.
Okay, we'll just leave it there. So
shut up, Joe.
So the point is, if you notice if your ear was perked up to detail there, he said that you've got to roll. He agrees with this.
Yeah.
Right? In a way. Yeah. He said in order to be a purple belt, you've got to roll.
Yeah.
Like there's no way around it. He literally said there's no way around it. You're going full blast, you're sparring, you've got to roll. Now, I'd like to draw your attention back to the article where Rigan Machado said, I've created a new jiu-jitsu system for people who can't get hurt. It's technical training. They learn jiu-jitsu technically. It's all safe, blah, blah, blah. And it said, I created a type of jiu-jitsu for Beverly Hills clientele, competition, sparring. These guys can't do that. He's not a brown belt. He's not a brown belt.
But I don't know who to believe, because everything that Joe Rogan says is like, it's just cemented in factual information. Like, I mean,
majority, yeah.
Like he does his research. He's very well educated. He uses rock solid sources for all of his information.
That can't tell, this is dripping in sarcasm.
So who do I believe? Joe Rogan or Rigan himself?
To be
I
fair,
don't know what to do.
To be fair, Joe did agree with us when he said that in order to achieve a purple belt, it's, in order to achieve a purple belt, you have to spar. There's no way. He literally said there's no way around it.
Yeah.
However, if he actually knew what this Beverly Hills program was, he would have, found out that Rigan is setting this up to make a shitload of money, make a name for himself in the Hollywood community, get opportunities to be a choreographer in movies. And in order to do that, he's selling belts. That's what he's doing. He's selling belts to celebrities.
Yeah. Like
literally Joe Rogan just said, and I know that not everything he says is, correct or true or whatever, but he agrees with us in saying that in order to achieve a purple belt, you must spar. You must go all out. You're going pretty much 100%. You're rolling, dude.
Yeah.
And this fucking, in Higgins, like, no, they're not rolling.
Yeah.
But he's awarding, for those that don't know, Ashton's not a purple belt now. He's a brown belt, and he's probably going to be a fucking black belt soon. Like,
yeah, it's absolute bullshit, bro. Like, it's
what is this?
Like, okay, you can be a black belt, but it's not in jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
Like, it's like you're a black belt then in I don't know, man, may as well be bloody taekwondo or something like
anything.
It's not jiu-jitsu if you're just taking away a bunch of the requirements, And there is no governing body, so it is up to the instructor it's at their discretion, which is also one of the things that makes jiu-jitsu really beautiful. I think I like that, you can, to some extent as a student, you can choose how difficult you make it for yourself in the sense that, some instructors give out belts easier than others. So, I'm not going into the whole sandbagging thing, but I do like that portion of, well, it's at the instructor's discretion. But, there's certain things criteria that need to be met, and you just, I know everyone's different and you're trying to cater to everyone, but you can't cater to everyone. If they're not willing to do what's required, like as part of the sport, you can't award them the belts.
Yeah.
Just like simple as that, bro.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of celebrities that have been in this program now. It's been running for a while. So Ashton, he's bearing the brunt of a lot of our abuse. But
well, can I just say, I actually really like Ashton Kutcher. I think he's like a really good, I don't mind him as an actor.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah, he's funny. Dude, where's my car? That's fucking great.
He's, done a lot of really good charity work. Like he's set up an organization called Thorn, which is fights against like child sex trafficking and stuff like that. So he does a lot of like him as I've never met him, right? But he seems like a great dude. I have nothing against Ashton the person. I'm just talking about
his jiu-jitsu shit. Like that's all we're saying.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
What do you mean? Fuck off. Stop pulling your punches. Like if he rocked up, if Ashton Kutcher rocks up in your gym wearing a brown belt and you put him up with, one of your competent blue belts, I'd put every fucking dollar I have on that blue belt every day of the week.
Yeah, probably.
Every day of the week, if they actually rolled. Fucking every single day of the week. I don't care what fucking color belt he's wearing. I've seen him roll. So for those that haven't seen it, I've fucking spoken about it so many times, but do yourself a favor. Have a look at Ashton Kutcher rolling with Craig Jones. Now, I know the argument that Craig makes everyone look like white belts. And if I roll with Craig, he'd fucking tell me up.
Yeah, but you are laughing. A white belt, so it's fine.
Exactly. I'm a white belt. Who cares? But, Craig fucking ragdolls people, right? Like Jeremy, I was talking to Jeremy Skinner on Sunday because we filmed an instructional for him. For those that don't know who Jeremy is, check out episode number 31. He was on the
31, 39, 41?
31.
Was it that long ago?
Long ago.
Jeez.
Yeah. Episode 31, we had Jeremy Skinner, and he's a high-level black belt competitor under Lachlan Giles. And I think my friend Zach, asked Jeremy, hey, so in all the roles that you've had with Craig, have you ever subbed him? Have you ever tapped him? And he's like, not even close. And this is Jeremy, a very, very high-level competitor, said he's not even gotten close to tapping Craig. And
what a chump. I've tapped Craig.
Well, there you go. Recently or?
No. Craig and I have only
were you purple belts?
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've only ever rolled a couple of times, like once when we were both purple belts and then years later when, were we both brown or I was brown and he was black? I can't remember. And we barely rolled. He was just like showing me a bunch of leg lock stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's kind of like I've got a friend of mine who, when we drunk wrestled once, years ago before I even trained jiu-jitsu, and like he tapped me out and he's like, I tapped out a black belt.
Good one, bro. But yeah, so anyway, back to the original point. There's a video that was published by Rigan, I believe. He released it, and it shows Ashton Kutcher as a brown belt rolling with Craig. And
yeah, it's pretty...
It's really embarrassing for the sport.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
No offense to anyone involved, but like it's really embarrassing for the sport.
Like I'm all for like I like that celebrities training jiu-jitsu puts more spotlight on the sport of jiu-jitsu, because the bigger it grows, the more sponsorships and endorsements can come through, and the more that people can be in a position to make a living and a career out of jiu-jitsu. So, that's great. A big advocate for jiu-jitsu is Kelly Slater, who I think is only a blue belt and has been for a long time. I don't know how often he trains or anything, but he's quoted as quite famously saying, put your kids in jiu-jitsu before any other sport.
Yeah, agreed.
And, there's lots of celebrities. I think Demi Lovato trains jiu-jitsu. I don't know if all these celebrities train at Higgins, right? But I know like Jonah Hill is another one. Yeah,
there's a lot
Reeves.
I think a lot of them train with.
Paul Walker, the Fast and the Furious guy who passed away, had trained. Yeah. Anthony Bourdain, the famous chef, trained. But like Anthony Bourdain, right? Like is... unfortunately,
he
passed
trained
away.
Legit, though.
He trained legit because, he was a blue belt. Obviously didn't start jiu-jitsu until he was however old, in his 50s by the time he even started. But, you have age brackets in competition. So he won his division at blue belt. I think it was the New York Open or something. So it's like he trained, he actually competed, legit. And won a competition. Even, it doesn't matter that he won or lost, right? But
he was there,
he went and competed. So he actually trained and rolled. Like he was a legitimate blue belt, Was he a blue belt who could beat an 18-year-old white belt? No, probably not, because he started when he was mid-50s. But like for his age bracket, right? Like he was a legitimate blue belt. These other celebrities, bro, who are getting belts and not actually training. Like I said, man, I think it's, kind of like trying to classify yourself as, if there were like a belt system in, free solo rock climbing, but you never actually climb without the rope. Like that's kind of what it's like, right? I think actually that's like a perfect analogy. Man, okay, you're rock climbing, but you always have the rope on, but then you want to say you're a black belt in free climbing? Like, how is that possible? You've never climbed without a rope. How can you say you're a black belt in free climbing? How could you be a blue, purple, brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but you never roll?
You can't.
Okay?
You fucking
can't. You just can't.
You can't. And
we're getting angry, Kieren.
This is something, I think the reason, now I want to go out on a limb here and get a little bit, philosophical. The reason that I have such a big problem with it is because I'm not going to say like I'm insecure, but it's kind of like I'm seeing someone like, whoever it is, because they have money, they have fame and whatever, they can rock up and just do like, drills probably once a week, or if that, whenever they're in town for like a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, they're a purple belt. Whereas those that are, putting in the hard work, training, every day on the mats, on the grind, we've spoken about the jiu-jitsu grind. We've spoken about embracing the suck. We've spoken about all the things that, I'm doing and people out there like me are doing to progress in this sport and actually be good at the sport, and I feel like we are working hard to earn the color belt. And so when eventually, when I get a brown belt, like fucking years down the track, it's going to mean something to me because of all that time put in. That's the beauty of the sport. That's why we love it so much. And it's not all about the belt, but when eventually I wear a brown belt, or maybe one day a black belt, it's going to mean something to me. And I'm sure it means, and you've spoken about how much it means to you, right? But when you see someone out there that's being renowned as like a legit purple belt, like Joe Rogan. Oh, he's legit.
If you got one from Higgin,
if you got one from Higgin, it's fucking legit.
He's a fucking purple
Well,
belt.
you know what?
Shut up, Joe.
I love Joe Rogan, but fuck, man, that just, he just didn't have all the facts, right? And that's why it fucked me off so bad.
He didn't have all the facts.
Shit, I just dug my own grave.
Joe Rogan didn't have all the facts.
That's the story of his life, right? But yeah, and I think
if only he had access to the facts.
Yeah, like the internet. But yeah, that's with the whole celebrity thing. That's what really fucks me off. I think it fucks me off so much because I'm working my ass off to earn something, and they've gotten all the credit for it, but have done nothing.
Yeah,
or very little to nothing. Right?
Yeah.
They're not training.
Yeah, I mean, you can still be. I've known plenty of people who were, had professions where they couldn't really afford to get, black eyes or whatever. Like, I don't know, maybe they were a big important business person and they had board meetings and stuff, or they were a doctor, or, I used to train with someone who was like not celebrity level musician, but was like his career where he was a musician. I think he was a guitarist or a pianist or something. So he couldn't really afford to like mess up his fingers or anything. They still rolled and everything. They were just, they were careful who they rolled with, in the sense that, some people are more aggressive than others, and so they were maybe careful with who they rolled with, or they tapped early, or whatever it was. Like they, and if every now and again there was the odd like finger getting bent or the odd like scruff on the face, like, yeah, it happens, but they were just maybe a bit more careful than the average person. So you can still train and roll and be careful, right? It'd be different if these guys train normally, but then let's say like, let's say you're my instructor and, I train normally, but then I'm like, oh, Kieren, bro, like for the next 3 months, like I'm filming. So like, I can't can I still train, but I just can't roll this next 3 months. You'd be like, yeah, cool. Like it's kind of making allowances, but if I train
I just put a pause on your belt progression. It's at that time. Like it's fine. Like,
but you know what I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I totally get where you're coming from.
But if they're just never,
if you've never rolled, you've never trained
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu, bro. It makes me a little bit mad.
Yeah.
Like I don't put a lot of thought into it, but
yeah,
I mean, because I guess I'm already past that.
Exactly.
Like,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
It's not like I freshly got my black belt, so I'm still like, oh, I worked so hard to get this.
Yeah,
and fuck you guys. Yeah. Like I've kind of, for me, already like, I've already passed it enough where, to me they don't mean anything, and it doesn't take anything away from me.
That's the point I was trying to make.
If you're still going through that progression.
Yeah, exactly. The point I was trying to make earlier, and I sort of butchered it, but you're comfortable in your skills. You're a fucking black belt. You've been a black belt for years. You're chilling. You own your own gym. You're confident that you can smash, and you're still obviously training, but to say you have nothing left to prove would be a fair statement. Like you've achieved.
I've achieved what? Yeah, I think the main things I wanted to achieve.
Exactly.
I mean, I've said previously, unfortunately, I didn't go and become a world champion, and
but at least you were in that conversation. Like,
yeah,
you had a crack.
Yeah.
So you were competing. You competed at a high level. You're a black belt, like I said, flung a dead horse here. But I'm a fucking white belt, and I'm training really hard to get to that point. I'm obviously not confident in my skills because I'm not a brown belt by any means, but then I see someone like Ashton who is, and it's kind of like, bro, you and I are probably on the same level. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want to discourage celebrities from getting involved in jiu-jitsu, but then I mean, if you want it, either you're going to forever be a white belt, or maybe let's say forever be a blue belt. You'll never get past that. Or you're practicing a different sport, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's,
exactly.
It's I don't know.
I think that's a good way to put it. you're not really like you're doing jiu-jitsu drilling, right?
Yeah.
You know how there's different types of karate?
Or you could still call it BJJ. I guess it'd just be like bullshit jiu-jitsu. Bogus jiu-jitsu. It makes me think of this other sort of training that we saw a lot at my gym in Brazil. There was quite a lot of students who were, I mean, yeah, Brazil is a poorer country, but there's lot of wealthy people, particularly in Sao Paulo. It's a very expensive city. And there were quite a few people who exclusively did privates. Like it's all they did. They never did group classes for whatever reason. I'm not exactly sure why. Because in the privates, they would roll too, right? They would have rolls with their instructor. So it's not like they didn't roll, but they didn't do group classes. And for me as well, I felt like that kind of had a limit on your progression. It kind of feels similar to if you were trying to learn a language and you only ever practiced and spoke that language with your tutor or your teacher, and then all of a sudden you traveled to like you're trying to learn Japanese, you only ever speak Japanese with your teacher, and maybe you're getting quite proficient at Japanese, but then you travel to Japan and you've got all these other people, all of a sudden they're speaking Japanese in a group, or this person uses different slang, or they, it's going to be really rough for you. So I think jiu-jitsu is the same, right? Everyone's a little bit different. So you have to roll and train with multiple people.
100%.
I think that's part of the progression as well.
Yeah, because if you train, even if you train, and we've spoken about this, like how to progress training with the same people, etc. But if you limit that and you're training with the one person, you're going to know their game. Like eventually you're going to, learn what they're good at or whatever. And you've spoken about this with you and Joey.
I think jiu-jitsu gets called a physical game of chess. I think you'd be hard pressed to find any grandmaster chess players or maybe let's not say grandmaster because that's the elite, but let's just say a professional chess player or a competent chess player who only ever plays chess against the one person.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon? I mean, I'm not good at chess, so I don't really know how.
You can't. Because if you only played chess against the one person, eventually all of your openings and all your positions would end up in the same, like stalemate.
Yeah, you'd
learn, right? You'd learn the counter. And you spoke about this with one of your students, Joey, a high-level brown belt. Whenever you guys roll, like you've been rolling so consistently for so long now, so many years, that there's certain places you guys just won't go to because you know that it's not going to end well for either of you. You know what I mean?
Certain positions will be like, oh, if I let this get here, it's over for me. Exactly. Or conversely, if I can get here, it's over for Joey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you learn that, and you guys won't even take it to that spot. Whereas if it's someone you don't know, you may take it to that spot. So it's eventually you will learn the intricacies. Same with one of my tough training partners, Samir, who's a brown belt in judo and white belt in jiu-jitsu. Whenever we roll, I never do stand up with him.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing stand up. I'll try to pull guard and sweep straight away because I prefer being on top, but I will pull guard. I will not stand up with that man. I will be taken down hard. 2 points for him. So I know better.
Yeah. He's flipped me on my head once or twice too.
Yeah, I just won't do it. And, actually, I think he's been, him and Adu have been doing some judo stuff because Adu fucking smashed me yesterday.
Dude, that was so. Typically, we have music playing in the gym when we're rolling, but last night I turned the music off because I spent all my time in Brazil training in the gym with no music, and it was just so many people training so hard. It was this atmosphere of tough training that like just fueled the fire. So I was trying to Az was the only person who gave me that feeling last night because he was a couple of positions where he was like really grunting, like a tennis player.
To be fair, I fucking yelled out a couple of times.
Yeah, well, that's what, man, like Edu hit you with an uchimata and just fell, and you copped the heaviest knee to the groin I think I've ever seen in jiu-jitsu. Bro, it was pretty rough.
I put it on a brave face.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty heavy. You screamed out. Yeah. I was like, I saw it too. I was like, man.
Such a sick throw though. Edu was so happy with it. Like, yeah, whatever, fuck shit happens. But he hit it like Edu's a blue belt. And yeah, he hit this throw, and my God, it was so clean. And despite the fact that he injured me, he was like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
Sick. Yeah, I really respect that.
Yeah. But yeah, like just going back to the celebrities, I don't know. Yeah, despite the ones that Rigan mentioned in the article, I'm sure there's a bunch of celebrities as well who train and legitimately train, right?
Oh, there's heaps. There's heaps of legit black belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the super famous ones is Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill is probably better known as Al Bundy.
Oh, yep.
But he's also like I can't remember, maybe the character's name is Ed, but he's like the granddad in Modern Family, the one who's married to Sofia Vergara, that Colombian maybe. Anyway, he's a black belt. I don't know how legit or whatever, but anyway, he's a super famous celebrity black belt. Who are some of the other ones?
Bunch. Oh man, there's so many musicians.
Oh yeah, so I was telling you the story
heaps.
that when I first trained, the first gym I trained at was under a guy called Shane Rice, who's a black belt from Hickson Gracie, and this was in Vancouver, Canada. And one day I was like this other black belt and purple belt came in, and they were part of the class, but also sort of off to the side doing their own thing. So I didn't really know what was going on. They didn't really join in with the class, but the purple belt rolled with the black belt that he came in with, as well as rolled with Shane, the instructor. And then afterwards found out that it was, Maynard, the lead singer from the band Tool. And the black belt that he came in with is a guy that would just kind of travel around with him when Maynard when Tool was touring shows. And he dropped in there because I think Maynard is loosely associated with Hickson Gracie and Shane Rice being a Hickson Gracie black belt. So like Maynard definitely trains and rolls
now, that's a role that I'd froth on.
I'd be sick.
Massive fan of Tool.
Yeah. I quite like Tool. And
my favorite band growing up, still probably, my top 3.
It was quite funny the other night in the gym. I was like, Kieren, you pick the music, but one of my most hated jobs as owning a gym is picking what music to put on. Like I get so sick of it, and it's just like the same playlist. And, most jiu-jitsu gyms like have some type of hip hop playing, and I'm not big into hip hop. I don't mind it, but like, I'm like, oh, whatever. I just often type into Spotify like gym playlist or hip hop or, whatever. And I was like, Kieren, I don't care what it is. Just put something on. I think you put System of a Down on, right? Yep. Which, I used to listen to System of a Down, but heaps of their newer songs came on, which are pretty garbage.
Yeah.
But
I put on System. I put on like a, what was it? It was a playlist. So it wasn't just System. It was.
I think Disturbed came on as well.
It was like an alt, that's right, alt metal playlist. So, that wave of alt metal, basically like, a bit lighter metal, like you have bands, like System.
Not death metal.
No, not like
quite Slipknot, Mudvayne.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I love Mudvayne.
Mudvayne are good.
They are again in my top 3 favorite bands. Look, this is now the music podcast, the metal.
What music you should listen to while training?
The Jiu-Jitsu metal podcast. Yeah, so
I had this guy I trained with in Brazil. Where was he from? I think he was from Panama. Actually, no, he was originally from Croatia. Anyway, this dude spoke really good English. I think his parents were diplomats, so he would travel around and live wherever they were. His English was really good. And we were like at a competition, I'm waiting to fight, and he's listening to music. Lots of people listen to music to get pumped up.
Yeah.
I never would. I prefer just hearing like the ambient atmosphere of the stadium or the arena that you're competing in. And he was like, man, I got some psych up music for you. I could put the headphones on. It was that song, like, I come from a land down under. I was like, fuck you,
what
bro.
a troll. That guy's legendary.
Anyway, I probably won. I don't know.
Vegemite sandwich, baby. Yeah. So like Tool, System, like heaps of bands, like Disturbed when I was a kid. Fuck, so many. Some of those like lighter metal bands. Bands, yeah. Really into it.
But I don't know, man. Like, they're taking away a bit from the hard-earned effort of
these
like
bands.
of people earning their belts. And it's not jiu-jitsu. If you're not willing to climb a wall without a rope, how can you say that you're like a free climber? Like, man, if you're either doing jiu-jitsu or you're not, right? Name it something else.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't mind this program. Like, I think the program's fine, but just don't give them belts.
Yeah.
Like,
don't do any belts. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like the program's fine.
Yeah, the program's great. I think the program's fantastic.
Especially if it's they're wanting to prepare for a role or something. 100%, man. Like there's actors who go and learn kendo because they're doing a film where they need to do sword fighting or something. Like, yeah, for sure, right?
Mm.
But yeah, don't give them belts or it's something else. It's a different, one of the things that I put martial arts into two categories, right? You've got combat martial arts and non-combat martial arts. So non-combat martial arts, there's a million different styles of karate. So some are combat, but like certain styles of karate or even like Taekwondo, even though it's in the Olympics as combat, I would consider it a non-combat martial art. Kung Fu, Aikido, all these non-combat martial arts where you don't actually
Yoga.
yeah. You don't actually fight. And then you've got combat, full contact martial arts where you actually fight in that rule set. Jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, judo. Like these are full contact fighting martial arts that, have their own rules, right? I don't want anyone thinking like, yeah, but I'll punch you. Yeah, or I'll take down a boxer. Like it's not an MMA fight, right? But in their own rule set, they're full contact martial arts. So like, yeah, if boxing had a belt system, but you never actually like box someone, how can you be a boxer?
You can't.
You fucking can't, bro.
Yeah.
Riled up, Kieren.
Yep.
Grinding my gears. Like I said, I don't put a lot of thought into it.
I put too much thought into it. But on this, I think for me, this was a closure experience. Now that we've done an episode on it, I can close the door on the celebrity belts and stop bitching about it.
No, you're gonna hit you're gonna do the outro. You're gonna pick up your phone and you're gonna see Ashton Kutcher awarded black belt. And you're gonna be like, throw your phone out the window.
I'll get you, Ashton.
No, but like I said, I'm definitely all for more people getting involved in jiu-jitsu, and it's great that some celebrities do it, and like that can help spread the word of jiu-jitsu. Actually, another big one. I can't believe it's only came into my mind now.
Joe Rogan?
No, fuck Joe Rogan. But yeah, I remember I had sent you a list pre-recording of like some celebrity jiu-jitsu names, and you were like, bro, where's Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
And I mean, despite my love for Joe Rogan, the reason I don't consider him a celebrity jiu-jitsu guy is because he's in the martial arts world anyway. He's trains MMA,
everyone knows he's a black belt. Like, you don't need to,
did like, I think he was a very competitive, like Taekwondo
he was,
guy as well. Yeah. And anyway, so, but
Same as
another
Jocko
big one
Willink
is, another big one is Russell Brand, right? The comedian.
Yeah, he's
recently
legit
got his
purple belt.
I remember when he did his blue belt, he got his blue belt. He did like a 20-minute like vlog about, how jiu-jitsu's changed his life and
damn,
all this
I was going to
stuff.
do that.
And then he did it again for his purple belt. I don't know if he's a purple belt from Higan or if he trains at a gym
he's
where.
legit. Yeah.
So I have no idea, right?
Yeah, he's a legit purple belt.
And look, you don't have to be the best purple belt in the world to get your purple belt, but like, is he actually training, learning techniques, rolling? Like,
yeah, 100%.
So I'm all for more people getting involved, spreading the word of jiu-jitsu. But yeah, this celebrity thing, call it a, I don't know, man.
We're talking specifically this Beverly Hills, like drilling, not rolling. That's where, that's what I have a problem with. Everyone else, fucking good to go.
Yeah, like it's
very specific. We're talking about like the minority here, but
because I mean, one of the things I try to teach my students when you're talking about the combat of jiu-jitsu, sometimes I'll teach something or do something and then the person will say like, oh yeah, but that hurts. Yeah, no fucking shit, bro. Like, what do you mean? Or sometimes like, when you do a technique or apply a position or a submission or something, there's some level of self-inflicted pain, the same way that if I punch you in the head, it might hurt my hand. But not as much as it hurts your head, right? So that's sometimes the case. Like, for example, when I do, like the way that I do shoulder pressure, it's, or people might know as a crossface. My students know what I'm talking about, but it's very different to how, I don't mean as in I do it differently. The way I learned from like Fabio and Langy and stuff, it's a very specific way you do this shoulder pressure and it's horrible for the person on the bottom. But man, like, I put so much pressure through my opponent that it hurts my shoulder, right? Like that, but not as much as it's hurting them. So like, if you're not if you're not doing it at that extent, like you're not training jiu-jitsu, bro. Like even if you're just drilling, I wonder if they're drilling without any of this sort of like pressure. Like, are they just really doing the same thing as like Aikido? Like there's no actual pressure. Like, oh, this person would fall over here.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder.
But I mean, I don't know. Keep stopping child abuse, Ashton. I like you, bro. You're a
good dude, but you're jiu-jitsu shit house. And on that point,
imagine like it's just like see Ashton like he's like this big mega Uber superstar, and he's sitting at home by himself. He's like, Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast. He tunes into this episode. He's like just sitting like it's like that Michael Jordan meme. He's like crying, getting like ripped apart by these two bodies.
If you're listening to this, no disrespect, dude. I think I've said my piece.
I love you in the butterfly effect, Ashton.
I thought you better say I love you in the butt. I don't. Anyway. Okay, so
I'll grab your drawstring, bowl you, bro. Give me that butt.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast, you can find us on Instagram at Beyond Jiu-Jitsu _podcast. We are on Patreon. Jump over to Patreon if you feel like supporting the show and shouting us a coffee. Because as you heard at the start, we're out of coffee beans. We need those Patreons, man. We need to get them coffee.
Where am I going to get my post-episode coffee hit?
I don't even know. We'll have to figure that out.
How? Don't you even have instant coffee?
I got nothing.
You have nothing.
We're completely out of coffee.
Can I lick the espresso machine?
No. But thanks for listening. Until next time, guys. See you later.
See ya.